Hey, what's up everybody? This is Mage, and today we're going to be bringing you the FML Season 2 finals. Season 1 was met with great success, so without further ado, let's get rolling here. In the top left corner, we have Kow3 Target. He was a pretty well-known solo player and twos player back in the day, played in some WC3CL. I do not believe he participated in Season 1, so I'm guessing this is his first season of FML, and he's got the spawn luck in the top left corner. And then in the top right corner at about 3 o'clock or maybe 2:30, we've got Warpex playing Orc, which either means that he was at one point a good Orc player, or more likely he's just never been particularly great with any race. Below him is DeadDontBite, who I have absolutely no idea who the fuck that is. We're going to skip him, he's playing human. And then our last player is Lok-Ta. He was actually known as Lok-Ta-Ogar, I believe, in Season 1, and he played Night Elf in the FML Season 1 finals. I can't claim to be an expert. He didn't?
He played Undead.
Oh, well, he played Undead, you know. As you can see, I really pay a lot of attention to my work, and I have a great eye for detail. But as you can see by the annoying person chiming in, today I've got Mog with you, and we're going to continue our streak of casting the finals and just making fun of the players.
Yes, my favorite. So, I think Warpex maybe is a sub in the finals. I don't know this for sure, but I've known Warpex a long time, and I don't remember him ever playing Orc. Ever. Like, even in 2006.
Whoa, hold on. We've got FML Warpex and Observers and Warpex in the game. So this is somebody else playing for Warpex, I believe.
Okay. Must
so
just, yeah,
that's confusing as shit.
Or something. I mean, it worked on us, so...
Right up until we saw the Observer chat. So I'm going to actually go ahead and message Warpex on Facebook, but for this point we can just go ahead and take guesses. It's Farseer first, which was pretty common in the day. They're starting off with Farseer Grunt, and Blue is really going to be in tough shape here because he really needs Green to let him take this expansion so he can get his 2 expansions, and Green needs to go left. Somehow I doubt that's going to happen. You know, just a funny feeling, but maybe they'll be really nice. Warpex, or whoever this lookalike is, not in terrible shape, not in great shape, and then really Target has the prime spawn location here. As you can see, he's scouting around and finding absolutely nobody near him. He goes with a pretty typical solo build here, but goes MK first, which I've always loved going MK first. I think it's a great hero to have the levels on, and especially on a map like Market, where if you get 5 and then get lucky, get a Tome of Power in the middle, that 6 MK could be incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, and I'm curious, well, I'm just really curious who Warpex is, and I'm also very curious who DeadDontBite is, because never ever heard that name. It must be, right? I mean, it must be someone's ID that we just didn't know they had. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll see. But, is Target the one famous for just going 2 heroes, or is that someone else?
No, that's Camp and Spank, I believe. No? Camp and Spank did Mass TP. I believe he went 2 heroes, but it could be Target. I mean, MK Paladin would be the perfect 2-hero combo, so maybe it's him. Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. He does have, obviously, the best position here, and I don't know that I love Mountain King first on this map, but, you know, back in the day...
People are terrible.
Even now, maybe it'll work for him.
So interesting, he must have gotten a really late start in this fast expansion, because you can see all of his peasants actually reverted before the creep camp was done, which is a little unusual, and by a little unusual I mean it's fucking bizarre.
It is, but you kill this creep slower with a Mountain King instead of, you know, you don't have the Water Elemental. I don't know what to say, it's bizarre. Life's very slow.
So we do see that Green is expanding to the proper spot if he wants to be neighborly with DeadDontBite. DeadDontBite, go ahead and puts up that expansion. Kow Target will be the first one to get up his expansion, and Warpex Wannabe, which that's what I'm just going to be calling him throughout the game,
okay, is
currently on pace to go ahead and not expand because, you know, that's for noobs. He is on his way to a stronghold at the moment, though.
I don't feel like wrong calling him Warpex, you know, but he just lost a grunt to the creeps, so I don't think he's that good.
Well, to be fair, that does actually sound like Warpex. There is no doubt in my mind.
You're right. Maybe. No, it's I don't know. Maybe he's just gonna die early, and we won't have to worry about it. I don't know anything about this final, so I'm not saying that like as a spoiler. I really don't know anything about what's going to happen.
I'm just gonna root for Target and Lok-Ta-Ogar to 1v1 each other soon because those are the only two people I know.
Well, I kind of am rooting for Blue because, or he's not Blue probably in your replay because I have that replay watcher thing that changes the colors.
Yep.
But DeadDontBite, just because, you know, he's surrounded. I feel like I have to root for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm experiencing a minor little glitch with my computer right now. What else is new? What replay time are you at?
I'm at 5 minutes and 43 seconds.
Okay, cool. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Let's see here. I am going to be at 5:48 right now. What are you at?
5:52. I should just pause. And
nope, we're good. Okay. I'm at just about to hit 6 minutes.
I just hit 6.
Perfect.
Right.
And as you can tell, this is really the professional quality of casting that we do. Is my computer flickers, and you know, we just on air go ahead and fix it. So
why not?
Yeah. Actually, too late now. Doesn't matter. So yeah, so far Lok-Ta-Ogar does have a level 3 Archmage, and let's go around base by base. We'll start with Target in the top left. And what do you like about his base? What do you dislike? I'll go ahead and start here. The scout towers are being built right here. Seems like an absolutely incredibly terrible idea. I expect those are going to get torn through very quickly.
I was just about to disagree with you.
Really?
That's the only thing I like about his base. You want to build towers by the ramp on this map.
I agree, but I think you want a layer of farms in front of them so that you have something to protect it. I think these towers are going to be super easy to go through.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I would agree with that.
And you want them to be on the edges around here where they can fire off of the ledge, not right at the ramp where you can literally walk into them.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But that's not that bad because...
What are you talking about?
Because they don't have vision going up that ramp until later in the game where they're all air. So at this point in the game... Well, first off, at this point in the game, he doesn't even need these towers because look at his position on the map. Like, he's not going to get rushed.
Yep. Just to briefly interrupt you, we are going to have a fight between fake Warpex and a person I have no idea who they are. Unfortunately, does not take down the Rock Golem early on, so not going to be able to get that item, which could prove to be important later on. On the other hand, DeadDontBite really picking a fight that probably not the best for him here. I don't know what fake Warpex has for his level 2, or his second ability on the Farseer, but it's clearly not Chain Lightning.
No, it is Chain Lightning. He used it earlier while you were having technical difficulties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
they've been skirmishing
I guess he just doesn't have enough. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That shows how much I've been paying attention.
Their third fight, I think.
Well, we found the bitter rivalry, and DeadDontBite is going to go ahead and grab that. Talisman of Evasion, really a key item.
Fake Warpex is LEL. I just saw in chat.
Oh, really? Okay. You're right.
Okay.
Okay, so do you know anything about LEL?
I've heard the name before. I don't know anything really about him.
Yep, that's about the extent of my knowledge. I know he was very prevalent early on in... we do have, the Paladin coming out for Target. He may be going the 2-hero Mountain King Paladin here.
Yeah, go, sorry.
So LEL was very prevalent within the early days of FML and free-for-all. I believe at the time he was considered a decent talent, but nothing great. And by today's standards, probably just nothing at all.
Okay.
However, I don't think this is the only final he's made. And I do believe he had pretty good results showing early on.
Yeah, I feel like... I don't know. I think I've seen him in multiple finals, like when I've looked over replays, but not actually watched the replays.
Mm-hmm.
So... I mean, he seems like he can micro okay, but it is kind of odd that he doesn't have any expansions.
Yeah.
And he keeps fighting the sandwich person, which, you know, nowadays you would look at that and say, maybe not what you want to do, but, anyways.
Yeah, it's a different style of game. And also, I'd just like to point out that this sums up our casting experience so well is the multiple replays I've looked at and none of them that I've watched. I think that really describes us very well.
Yeah.
Also, solid use of the Kow3 here, going ahead and devouring a peasant because that's what was really going to damage you. Couldn't use anything more useful. And
so good.
in fact, we're about to get to the point where it's going to be more interesting to watch Target creep the middle than it is to watch this fight, just because this is brutal on the eyes. Target actually making a mass pull, trying to pull it into the towers of Lok-Ta-Ogar, so that's somewhat interesting.
I think he just realized he couldn't creep that with what he had. I mean, let's be real.
My explanation was a lot better.
It was very good. But,
Shadow Hunter does go down, and apparently we've got some massive lagging going on based off of the 12 lines of chat.
Blue, not I keep calling him Blue. DeadDontBite saying he's plug pulling because he's owning him.
Yeah, DeadDontBite actually is blue for me. I've got Warpex, or fake Warpex is yellow, LEL, sorry. Do have Mountain King and Farseer go down. Bad trade-off there. And then Lok-Ta-Ogar is green, and I've got Target at red.
Cool, all my colors are the same as you.
That's
so
super
I can say
unlikely.
colors. That's a big...
Aren't you colorblind, though?
I am, but with these colors, it's pretty easy for me to see. The only trouble is sometimes the green and the red, but with light green, it's usually okay.
That's just bizarre, but
Speaking of light green, look at his base.
You know, he just thought he was playing tower defense. That happens.
I just want to remember to our last... no, I shouldn't spoil anything from our last cast. Never mind.
It's alright. Well, how big a spoiler is it?
It's not a big spoiler. I was just going to say that he was undead last cast, but he still made a bunch of towers in the front of his base.
Well, you know, you got to try and replicate the Death Star, and...
It didn't really make any sense in that game. At least this time he's human, so it's like towers are actually good.
Are you saying that undead towers aren't good?
I'm saying when you space them out in front of your base with no other buildings around, it's not very good.
Disagree.
Alright, so I want to point out that LEL actually has an okay base. I mean, he didn't rush, but he got up to fortified defense, which is a very important thing to do as Orc. And he finally has a secured expo, so maybe he's gonna do all right here. What is Blue doing? Oh, I thought he was just gonna cross map like into target towers.
It's always a possibility. It's
always
a
good to scout with the whole army.
Here is an all. So I'd just like to point out, we are 12.5 minutes in, and we have yet to have a red can't actually creeped. Persuade has a strategy where he creeps a red camp in 2.5 minutes when he's human. And we have none.
It's true. With human, it's fairly easy to creep the reds.
Yep. And he actually has a really impressive strategy where he can creep one of the corners with human and look for an Inferno. If he gets an Inferno, he's able to Inferno rush somebody, which is absolutely ridiculously overpowered if it actually happens.
Aren't the Infernos in the middle ones?
Maybe it's the middle, I don't know. Yeah. I haven't actually really played Warcraft in 3 years now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where... I'm one of those players that I don't really know item drops all that well, but I know on this map the corners are like Orb of Frost, Dagger of Escape,
You're probably right then.
15.
I don't know. He figured out a way to do an Inferno rush at like 5 minutes in, so...
That's imbalanced. That's like Orc on death rows, imbalanced.
Yep. So we do actually have target successfully creeping the middle, it looks like.
With the level 5 Mountain King.
To be fair, if he took that Mountain King away, he'd have absolutely no shot of managing to creep it properly.
No, I mean, you're right. I'm not denying that.
And I bet he gets a Tome of Power drop here. I don't know.
And he has amazing items on his Mountain King.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now, and it's not running out of mana anytime soon, that's for sure.
Never. Like, he's not even going to miss Brilliance Aura. Which is pretty incredible.
Fuck that Brilliance Aura.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Lok-Ta's base is incredible.
Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll start in the top left. Let's look at the bases again. We got somewhat through this. We got 5,000 gold, 200 wood for target. So solid job managing economy there.
It's like Renault right there.
To be fair, Renault would only have like 15 wood, and he'd
You're
probably
right.
have 20,000 gold at this point. But you can see he's spending heavily on towers at this point. They are, let's see. Okay, so that to 8 armor there. So not a terrible job overall, but he is going to run out of wood in his main base relatively soon. And we're going to have the creep jack here. Who's going to grab the golem? Golem does go to the... Yep, does go to the Mountain King, gets level 2.
He's going to get bolted, die.
Just gets away. Okay, and then we've got 2 expansions up for target as well, which are towered, but not terribly towered. We've got LEL has 2 expansions up and running now, which from chat seems like kind of a very surprising thing. But he's only got 1,000 gold and 400 wood. Both players so far also don't have the ability to go to 100 should they want to. Also, rather weak base for LEL. He's got 2 towers there, which decent position, I'll give him that, but pretty easy to run through. And he does have one of his expansions towered up. And then we've got DeadDontBite, who decided he was going to invest every bit of his economy into towers, and that was it. He's 3966, 22 wood, and 2700 gold. Pretty weak heroes. Does have that paladin coming out third, so he is playing the traditional human style of play. But aside from that, he looks somewhat weak, although he does look to be in the position to go ahead and start pumping tanks at any moment once he gets wood. Lastly, we've got Lok-Ta-Ogar, who is at 5-3, appears to not want a third hero unless I'm missing the Mountain King somewhere. Apparently, Archmage Paladin was a solid hero combo back then, and he's got a few Griffins out and running, and he too would like to go ahead and tower everything in sight and not have any wood while amassing gold. 2 expansions and winning the gold fight, so far I would say target probably in the strongest position, but there are a lot of red camps left, and it's going to be who can finish off these creeps in the best way. Target obviously with the natural inheritance of a nice spawn, and he's going to have a lot of creeps that he can get to relatively easily, but also the 2 hero combo going to hurt him because he's already got that level 5 Mountain King, and the Paladin only able to gain so much experience while the Mountain King's there, but can't creep it without. So any initial thoughts on our players so far?
Yeah, a lot of thoughts. Not a lot of good thoughts. I'm actually, considering how poorly the early game went for LEL, who is fake Warpex, he's got the best heroes. I mean, like, he's about to get this camp, so he's at 5-3-3.
Yep.
And Target has good items on his heroes, but if he had a third hero, he'd probably be at 5-3-3 also. But this is like the 3rd red camp he's crept with a level 5 Mountain King, so also I don't know that he can creep this.
I'm going to be very interested to see if he can. I think only because the Mountain King is such a tank will he be able to. But what he should do here, obviously, is to creep both of these level 6 golems, and then get the Granite Golem down as low as possible, and finish it off with just a Paladin in the area, pull the Mountain King away. And we have not seen anything done to try and pull the Mountain King back and stop leeching experience. So, yeah, you're right. I think that, I mean, economy-wise, LEL not in a great position.
Right.
But he's had an impressive, I wouldn't call it a comeback, an impressive recovery, maybe, from the early game.
Yeah, for sure. And, yeah, his economy is poor, but, you know, everyone is pretty much starving for lumber at this point.
Yep.
And the humans do, well, not all of them, but Lok-Ta and Target, you know, their banks are huge, but I don't know, I'm so against not getting a third hero on this map. I mean, sure, some maps you could make it work, but on this map in particular, there's, especially in a 4-way, there are so many good item drops.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, how many red camps? There's 3, 4, 8... 13 red camps, and every single one of them drops a good item. So you're not going to be able to really hold enough inventory slots with just 2 heroes.
Yeah, and it's 2 of our players are going 2 heroes only as well. I mean, Lok-Ta-Ogar has 2 heroes at 5 and 4. I really don't get it.
Especially Human. Human has the best heroes for triple hero combinations. I mean, like with the most options, I guess. Obviously, Orc would probably have the best, but it just doesn't make sense to not get a third hero.
So it looks like we're in a bit of a creeping spot here. I'm gonna do a 3-2-1 go, and let's go ahead and bump it up to 2 times speed here until we get to a more interesting part. So 3, 2, 1, go. 2 times speed. And let's do a little theory crafting here while we've got some just basic creeping, expanding, and stuff going on.
This might not last long because DeadDontBite is about to tank LEL.
That is. Oh, you're right. All right. So
he has no upgrade, so it's not going to work. I mean, it might work, but.
All right. Well, let's go down to 1 time speed. We'll do 3, 2, 1, go, and go on to 1 time. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So DeadDontBite, yeah, no upgrades on any of his units right now. Fortunately, LEL, for him at least, doesn't have a particularly strong base, but at the same time, these heroes not going to hold up well. He is only fighting 66 food, though, for LEL, and LEL is stuck at 130 wood, and does not want to move out of Blizzard's way. Yeah,
oh,
so...
Man. Yeah, no, LEL's fine. I mean, sure, there's a bunch of Griffins, but he's going to get enough bats out. Bats tear through 0-0 Griffins.
Yeah, although I'm not sure. I think that the tanks may do a significant amount of damage to him before he's able to recover from it. I mean...
Yeah, maybe.
This may not be something that kills him right now, but I bet it's something that really hurts his game. You can see these bestiaries going down, and he only has 280 wood. He only has 5 peons on wood. Not sure why that hasn't changed. Maybe he's got some of the expansions. Clearly winning the micro fight right now. But at the same time, that's what the power of tanks is. You don't pay attention to them, and they still do so much damage.
Yeah, I think as long as he saves the fortress here, he's gonna be okay. I think he can save it.
He's gonna be able to. Yeah, I mean, you can see this Torn Chieftain actually doing work. He does have that Inferno Stone, and what I really like here is, did his Shadow Hunter die? No, there it is. He's got the combination of both Orb of Lightning and Orb of Frost, which is a really, really powerful combination. I think he's done really nicely to put that on the Shadow Hunter while giving the Orb of Lightning to the Torn Chieftain. Does good work there, but still at the same time, 56 wood right now, and glancing at his expansions, he doesn't have any production buildings there. It's going to take him a while to recover from that. He's had to spend a lot of wood on repairing stuff, continues to have to do so. So while he's fine in the sense of his heroes and all that, he is going to be a little bit weak for the remaining game until he gets to recover, or if the other players start fighting each other. Scouted out there, I presume, by Target, actually. So both he and DeadDontBite scouted by Target. First time of any scouting I've seen in this game, which is nice to see.
Yeah. Well, DeadDontBite is basically out of... I mean, he's not out of the game because he has 1,000,000 towers walled off in his base. But he's only got 1,000 gold. He's got the weakest heroes. He has no upgrades.
Yep.
I don't know. I can see him just like doing another tank attack like that, and
I feel like it could be a suicide between the two of them at this point.
Yeah.
He does have a second expansion up. Starting to get peasants on that, but both Lok-Ta-Ogar, who is he's got 16,000 gold now, and Target have 3 expansions up. Target at 17,000. So both of them really starting to mass up the gold right now.
Yeah.
And if they're both left free.
He's only got Lok-Ta's got 50 wood, and Target only has 400. Which actually I'm amazed he even has 400 because of the amount of towers he built in his, well, all of his expansions except the top left.
Yeah, and Lok-Ta-Ogar being, I don't know if he's getting ready to hit, but he's at an odd point here with 70 food and unable to go up quickly enough. I mean, obviously, what you would like to be able to do is instantaneously go up to 80 food from 50 and from 80 up to 100. And I'm sure what you were mentioning a moment ago was the interesting fight between Target and the wolves belonging to LEL while in the expansion of DeadDontBite.
Well, to go back to your other point about the supply going up to, you know, you just want to go straight up to 80 or straight up to 100, that's a macro trick that wasn't discovered yet. But really, sorry, hold that thought, because I really do think DeadDontBite is just suiciding LEL. He's Blizzard harassing his expansion. Even though his own expansion is getting killed by 2 heroes from Target, so...
Yep. And props to Target for staying at 44. I mean, that's going to be a big difference between him and Lok-Ta-Ogar. Lok-Ta-Ogar putting up his 4th expansion, though, as we speak.
And he did get a 3rd hero. It's only level 1, while his other 2 are level 5. But you know what? That level 1 Mountain King at least has Stormbolt.
You can teach old dogs new tricks, apparently. Not sure why the Dagger of Escape is on the Paladin, though.
You know, just in case it doesn't have Divine Shield and can't get staffed out.
You know, at level 5, when Divine Shield literally never goes away.
Well, he also has Brilliance Aura on his Mountain King item, even though he has level 5 Archmage.
Well, that's clearly because it's a pretty awesome looking pipe.
It doesn't stack, you guys. Okay, I'm sure you all know that.
It looks cool. I
mean, you know, what if that Archmage dies and he needs that level 1 Brilliance Aura?
Well, what do you think the Pipe of Insight is made out of? I mean, it looks like it's either made out of a fungus or a worm.
I'm pretty sure that's cedar.
I believe you're completely incorrect. And also, as I'm looking at it, it could be just a really, really deformed dick.
Town is under siege.
I don't think so. I've seen a lot of those. It doesn't. I don't know. It's gotta be pretty deformed.
Oh boy. At what point do we get banned?
Keep it G-rated.
I mean, last time I had Pure Beyond, he was making Nazi references, so if we didn't get banned for that, we're not getting banned.
True. I can talk about dicks all I want. Alright. Actually, okay, so LEL, this game is so weird. What the hell is going on? I mean, our last cast was weird, but there must be some bad blood, right? I mean, there has to be. Because LEL looks like he's trying to actually play the game.
You'd think so, yeah.
He just took out Target's expansion. He's actually got a decent army with good heroes. And DeadDontBite is literally just suiciding him.
Yeah, I'm curious who DeadDontBite is. I mean, I think that's the big question is, who the hell is he, and does he have a grudge in this game? From what we're seeing so far, it leads me to believe that this is actually kind of normal. Nobody seems to be reacting badly. Nobody seems to think this is out of the normal.
Yeah. I mean, maybe because they still can private chat in Season 2, right? So there might be a lot of private chat going on.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, around Season 12, I believe, FML banned private chat. It was somewhat of a big deal, actually, because we felt that it did not give the observers the proper experience, to be honest. There's a lot that we were missing out from the game because we didn't know what was going on, and there were a couple of shady deals early on where people pieced at the 3 or 4 minute mark saying they didn't want to attack each other, and it led to just some overall unfair games. As a result, the games have actually become a little bit longer because it's easier to anticipate your opponents teaming you, and perhaps it's even taken a little element out of skill out of the game, but overall I believe it's a change for the better. And I've never been a huge fan of teaming. I'm much more likely to go ahead and just attack somebody because I'm bored and the game has been going on too long. So I might not be the best judge of this, but yeah, back prior to Season 12, private messaging was allowed and was a rather large part of the game, actually.
Yeah, we could definitely tell that in the Season 1 finals, and it looks probably the same here. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of manip going on here. Lok-Ta with his good luck LEL saying he's dead. He hasn't even really fought. They've just, you know, he's going to lose an expo here, but he's not dead. He's got 22,000 gold, so it sounds like a present day play. Help, I'm dead. I lost 1 expansion.
I don't know.
We're not 22,000.
We're not that bad. We at least wait until the 2nd expansion goes down.
Well, I mean, if you're some players, I almost said names, you probably know who I'm talking about.
Quest?
Help! Help! My shade just got his army. I'm dead.
I have no problem in calling players out for doing it. So, interesting army composition here for Target, though. I mean, he has gone
not a composition.
pure Griffin Riders. No, that's not true. He has 1 Dragonhawk Rider for Cloud.
True, which actually is good for him, but against 2 other humans, I mean, okay, one of the humans is dead, but Mass Griffin doesn't seem like the best unit choice in theory.
Maybe the most effective I've ever seen Earthquake.
I was just thinking that too.
This is the only time in history that Earthquake has been viable.
Maybe not the only time. I mean, Death in Decay is
No,
pretty good, and it's basically the same
only.
thing. But yeah, I mean, he has a Mountain King. He could just go stun him.
Yeah.
That's too
So we were talking about something earlier. I've completely forgotten what it was.
The fact that DeadDontBite still has no upgrades except one attack upgrade on his tanks.
It's
'Cause
okay.
That's what you want. An
The
attack
militias
upgrade.
are coming. The militia is going to take it down.
I missed that. I just heard them all dying. Oh man.
Yeah, well, he's clearly out of the game.
Yeah.
This is really bugging me now. There's something we're talking about. They had a fight.
Oh, the manip.
Nah, we already talked about that at length. It was
Okay.
worse now, or it was worse in the earlier seasons than it is now. This is
I
like
don't know about that.
no, I completely think so. I mean, do you remember the FML Season 1 finals?
Yeah, I remember it. I just had my memory refreshed by watching the beginning of the video that you posted.
Oh, you actually
Okay.
watched that?
I just watched the first like 6 minutes and then remembered everything about the game. And I was like, oh hell no, I'm not watching this again.
Did you enjoy my patching together the fact that I lost half the video?
I didn't notice. There was one part that I saw where it just like cut off and then you were saying something else. I was like, what just happened?
That was the introduction, yeah. So I lost the first probably 15 minutes because for some reason it didn't record. So I had to do a quick intro as to what it was. And then I transitioned into Hourcast.
Okay. Yeah, it was a pretty bad game. And there was manip, but it wasn't like... I don't know. I think maybe it seems worse today just because there's no private chat, so we don't really know how much they're manipping. You know what I mean? Like nowadays we can watch a replay and see, wow, this person is crazy. And not in a good way.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was Sky Fire Ice in the Season 1 Grand Finals had 20,000 gold, hadn't been hit by anybody, and was literally complaining that he was being hit and was almost dead.
I remember now. His chat was so funny.
I mean, even you at the time agreed that the manip was worse then than it is now.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. You're right. Yeah, I remember he was just sitting there because no one scouted, and like this game, no one's scouting, so you can just sit in the corner of your base and be like, "I'm dying! Oh my gosh, I just lost 100 food."
And
so
I think,
and so has
yeah.
10 heroes.
That's
or
the
just
advantage
10
is
because they don't get 3 heroes.
as bad as I think scouting is now. It's not that bad compared to then because we've literally seen only target scouting.
Yeah, and only like once.
Yeah, well, he may have done it more times I didn't notice, but it really has seemed like it's only that one area of it. Also, nice bat usage there by LEL.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Managed to get 2 of them to go ahead and explode.
That's all you need. I mean, if you just build bats, that's enough to beat Imba.
Well, they naturally attack air, right? Like
you don't have to use them. Well, Target is in a crazy good position, even with his 2 heroes, and he's been at 100 for a long time, but he's gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 expansions.
Drained 1 completely.
Yeah, drained 1 completely.
At 22,000 gold, LEL looks like he's going to be out of this game momentarily because Target's going to take him out. He's got enough gold to rebuild, but only 100 lumber. 2 heroes well on their way to hitting level 10 soon, and
yeah,
you know, maybe he'll build
think,
the next hero then.
The question of the game: do you think once he hits level 10, he's gonna get 3rd hero?
I do not know.
You don't think so?
Nope. I believe you're correct. I think Target is the person who is best known for going for only 2 heroes.
I just remember, didn't he come back for a season when we had all the players?
Did he?
Yeah, he came back, not this like most recent one, but like season, I don't know, maybe 16 or something. I just remember playing him in a match, and he only built Mountain King and Paladin, and everyone was, I think that was Target, everyone was like, yeah, that's normal for him.
Honestly, couldn't tell you, because once I cast a game or watch it or see the results, I immediately forget it. Honestly, I have pretty much no interest in you guys.
We have a big fight going on in Target's main.
I'm watching.
Oh.
We don't really so much have a big fight as we have actually Target getting pretty well slaughtered by gyrocopters until they die in the towers.
Well, he's not really controlling his gyrocopters very well. Like, some
Or
of
at
them are
all.
hitting the main, some of them are flying into towers.
Yeah, the
He's
question
almost
is...
killed, like, all of the griffins.
Yeah, and he had most of them dead until... There we go. Main does go down. He's got about 5 one-shots
His
here.
paladin has 350 mana and he couldn't heal his Mountain King. How much APM does that take? I can even do that. I don't even use hotkeys. I just click the picture of Holy Light. like he had that much time to do that. At least he got the castle. Because he can't really rebuild a castle with 25,000. That's pretty tough.
Nope, done. So Target's pretty much lost the game. We can clearly see that.
Yeah, clearly. At least he saved LEL, who, I don't know if he's saving his main gold mine on purpose because that's a pro thing to do, or if he just doesn't have peons.
So I'm curious. I did not see LEL pick up the potion of invisibility, but somehow he went invisible. I was going to comment and say that would be the smart thing to do, but apparently I just completely missed that because I was on the Shadow Hunter the entire time. That's how it got away. But it just didn't show it buying it.
Huh. I wasn't watching it. I was looking at LEL's main.
Well, that's because you're a noob.
I didn't even know he had a Shadow Hunter this game.
Yeah, that's what's got the Orb of Frost on it.
I'm just kidding.
It's a carrier of the Orb of Frost.
Yeah.
So I did remember our conversation that we were talking about earlier.
Really? What was it? Because I had no idea.
So when do you think it's appropriate to go for 2 heroes only? Clearly it's going to be on smaller maps with less creeps, but I was having an interesting conversation with Magadansky in one of our casts, and we're talking about Night Elf only using 2 heroes. So when do you think it's best to use 2 heroes, or do you think it's ever best to use 2 heroes, and maybe some map examples or game type scenarios?
I can't, off the top of my head, think of a scenario where Night Elf would only want to get 2 heroes. Just because Night Elf has 2 really good utility heroes to go third. Like, you can either go Priest of the Moon third or Keeper of the Grove. And really, I can't think of any time where you wouldn't want either. You know, usually it's a tough decision. Oh, do I want one or the other? Obviously, you always need a Panda. So... yeah, no, I mean, I didn't listen to that cast yet, so maybe I'll have to listen to that and see where he's coming from, but, I don't know, maybe like Twisted Meadows, you only want to go Demon Hunter Panda.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, that was the combination we were talking about, was Demon Hunter Panda, and it was a game on Emerald Shores where I believe it was I Never Smile. Okay. Started off with, no, it wasn't I Never Smile, it was, somebody who's not a big member, but he went Demon Hunter first, and we were speculating was he going to go Demon Hunter Panda or Demon Hunter Panda Keeper of the Grove. Maga was in favor of Demon Hunter Panda. I was in favor of Demon Hunter Panda Keeper of the Grove. But I think it actually would have worked out better if he did not get the Keeper of the Grove, which he did end up getting, purely because the Keeper of the Grove pretty much instantaneously died to the Undead Nuke.
Yeah.
Maps where you're not able to get an advantage early on.
Well, on that map with Night Elf, you can get an advantage early on against Undead, and I could see maybe you really need your Panda to hit level 3, so you don't want to get your 3rd hero, or maybe you really need to get level 5, but if the game is going to go late, and you don't have a Keeper of the Grove against an Undead, you're really in a tough spot, because you can't stop them from hit and running you.
Yeah. I completely
know,
agree
like,
with that.
I mean, I guess the map is small enough to where maybe you could just try and book it to his main base, but I don't know. I think it's just really hard against Undead if you don't have a Keeper of the Grove, unless you're playing on the bot, which is down right now. But you know, like, you're playing against random people who don't hit and run very well, but most good Undeads nowadays can hit and run, so...
And, yeah, I mean, that's their biggest strength, because even a average Night Elf player is able to take a Undead player 1v1 usually, if they're actually fighting, because...
yeah, you can even be down in food, and you could still win if they just fight straight up.
But Meg and I talked about the interesting idea of... Actually, let's pause that thought. So we've got a big fight coming in here between Target and LEL. This could be a deciding fight for LEL. Target obviously has a lot of gold left, but if LEL loses this fight, he's done. And that is a lot of Dragonhawk Riders. LEL going ahead and getting out of this fight smartly. That was one of the big things we talked about, was when to get out and when to not get out. But LEL is going to be knocked out of this game pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
He is building bats. I mean, that's going to be a big step in the right direction, but...
Target owns.
Target smartly actually going 3-3 on his upgrades. But yeah.
He hasn't done that yet?
No, he has. He's the only player that has been good about it.
Oh, yeah.
But sorry, just to... Well, let's go ahead and finish off this
LEL's
fight
gonna
here.
die probably here.
You know?
Yeah, he might survive.
Well, let's see. Unfortunately, Farseer at 6 does not have the game-changing ability that a Blade Master would.
Yeah.
But
I would take a Blade Master like level.
He does still have the Inferno Stone on the Torn Chieftain, so he's got a good chance of being able to nuke down that Mountain King early on. I mean, Chain Lightning, Hex Stomp, Inferno, Hex Stomp again. But we do have... he's actually going to be saved by Lok-Ta-Ogar attacking him here. And Lok-Ta-Ogar, he has a lot of tanks, but not nearly enough to deal with Target. And this may be the first thing I've seen done really well that we don't see a whole lot of these days, is adding in a few cannon towers to protect yourself against tanks.
Yeah, definitely against tanks. I mean, you saw how quickly those tanks died.
Yeah. And, I mean, as a Night Elf player, I really wish I could have some tanks.
I wish I could have some cannon towers.
Oh, sorry, I meant cannon towers, but I'd take tanks too. I mean, either one's good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would take tanks too. Well, I mean, this game is gonna pretty much deteriorate. Hey, DeadDontBite is still in the game.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, I just noticed that. He's
long distance mines.
With 94 supply.
And only 700 left on the gold mine.
It's basically 2 versus 1 at this point, and Target is in a position where he should be able to handle it because of the amount of towers he built.
Yep, and he's done a nice job of actually adapting to the situation, bringing out Dragonhawk Riders, and getting a lot of these bats tied up here. I mean, LEL did not going to do a good job.
Been able to bat very well this game at all.
And yeah, I mean, Target's doing nothing exceptionally, but he's doing everything well enough that it feels like he should be in a good position right now. But at the same time, 2v1 really can take its toll, especially if they start coordinating better. I mean, as we talked about earlier, private messaging is allowed in this final, so it's entirely possible they're going to be private messaging about when to hit, and they may already be doing so, which is going to make it a lot harder on Target, especially because he doesn't have that Archmage for Mass TP.
Yeah, and here's now
3v1.
3 versus 1. And DeadDontBite comes back into the game. But he only suicided.
Reminds other players that he's actually still alive.
Well, all he did was come in and kill... Oh, he's gonna try to kill the... Oh my gosh. This is like one of the worst suicides I've seen in a while. Yeah, Lok-Ta, I mean, he's wasting tanks on a dead expansion. He's not really doing anything good. And LEL's basically dead, so I don't really see this teaming taking that big of a toll on Target. But who knows, we'll see.
No, and for some reason they keep putting expansions that have already been drained. I mean...
Yeah. Like, why? Why are you wasting time?
I don't get it. We do have... Let's see, it's 400 experience basically for the Archmage level 6. And at that point, if he keeps producing tanks, that could be a dangerous threat to Target. But up until then, I would say Target's pretty well safe at the moment. He is going to try and end LEL here, which I think is a smart move and the right move, because you just want to take out an opponent as quickly as possible. He's the one that's going to be closest and easiest to take out. He probably suspects that LEL does not have very many resources right now, and if he can get him out of the game, then that's one less opponent. I'm sure that he thinks Lok-Ta-Ogar is his biggest threat right now, and he's probably dead on in that.
Yeah, and I mean, LEL was the only person that was sort of putting up a fight. So, oh my gosh, that's really sad. That's, I wonder if DeadDontBite is gonna leave after LEL's dead. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't think so. I mean, he has hit target a few times. I'm not sure if it's a personal grudge. I think it may just be a bad free-for-all sense. Also, Tauren Chieftain looking like it may go down without using the goddamn Inferno Stone.
Yeah, he might. And he's not going to use his potion either.
God damn it.
He bought all those good items, too.
Yeah.
Did you see him buy a Tiny Town Hall?
I didn't actually, no.
Yeah, he bought a Tiny Town Hall and a TP and didn't use... And he had an Invult bot, too, so he...
Solid
just kind
use
of couldn't
here.
click fast enough, I guess. I know how that is.
So yeah,
well,
clearly
I mean,
LEL dead.
LEL's pretty much dead. I mean, I don't think he can revive.
His target is up 8,000 gold over Lok-Ta-Ogar. And DeadDontBite doesn't even count.
Well, he's still long distance mining, so... The funny thing is when he uses his 73 gold to repair these towers.
Yeah.
I
It
hope that
should be
happens.
just noted, though, that this is the castle for Target. So if this goes down, Target does not have another castle.
Yeah, that should be noted, but also to be noted is Target's insane resource count. Of course, you know what's interesting is Target never remade a town hall in his main base. He just put towers there. So he can't TP to his main.
And also, Targets can be incapable of producing tanks without his...
Yeah.
Well, apparently that's not going to be a problem.
No, he's going to repair it. But it is interesting because he actually... His town hall in the top left expansion that is drained is gone. His town hall in his main is gone. So if the castle goes down, he doesn't have any TP point in any top left area of the map.
Yep.
And against mass TP, that could actually be really bad.
Yeah, I would agree.
Who knows if Lok-Ta can use mass TP that well, but...
well, I have not seen any critters running around the map yet.
I haven't either. And if they do come out, are they really going to get spotted?
Almost certainly not, no.
Probably not.
So let's go back to our conversation earlier, since I think it was interesting. We don't have a whole lot going on right now. So...
DeadDontBite still suiciding LEL.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't consider that interesting. Alright, so let's start race by race. I think we'll start with Undead, and we can probably agree that there's no good time that you should ever go only 2 heroes on Undead, right?
I'm thinking. No, there's no good time.
I mean,
You always want...
You completely forsook the Undead heroes and decided to go, like, Panda Alchemist, but that would seem to be beyond crazy to me.
I think the only time would be maybe if it was a very small map and you went Dreadlord first and Death Knight second and then Fast Tech Mass Gargs and rushed. And that's probably never a good idea ever, so...
Yeah, and then, I mean, because then you're giving away your Lich for nuking, so...
Yeah, you would still probably want a Lich third eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you really always want the Lich, you always want the Death Knight. The only time is if I went Tinker first with Undead and I picked up a Panda second, which I have done before and lost.
In solo or free-for-all?
Both. But yeah, if you're going Undead heroes, you always want the third. I think we can move on.
So, let's go to Orc next. We know that the Tauren Chieftain and Shadow Hunter are kind of the staple of the Orc army, and it's pretty hard to play them without those two. Do you ever see a possibility of purely Tauren Chieftain and Shadow Hunter being a viable combination?
Never. Never ever. Because you don't have the damage output. I mean, the Orc army, you could argue, puts out enough damage, but Wyverns can die really quickly. And also, if you throw in a few Tauren, that takes up a lot of supply. The casters take up a lot of supply. So really, a big part of the damage output for the Orc army is the Blade Master. Or even the Farseer. The Farseer has decent damage output at higher level too.
Or Alchemist or Dark Ranger, depending on what strategy you want. But
whatever your third hero is really where the damage output comes from. Except for the Dark... Okay, I mean, the Dark Ranger first.
But the Dark Ranger also allows you to shift your army focus, because if you're using that, you're going to be using Headhunters and more high DPS units, because you know the Dark Ranger can cast Silence on the opposing heroes.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think that there's pretty much no time that the Orc army should ever be going for purely 2 heroes, and if so, it's by mistake. DeadDontBite goes ahead and wastes that invisibility.
I was just watching this like, what the hell is going on? I don't even know what you said because I kind of zoned you out because I was so intrigued by all of the invisible griffins over the 2 armies.
Which, such a waste. I mean...
Oh, so funny. Plan failed. You think? Oh, yeah. Man.
There are a lot of flying machines going on right now.
Yeah, you know, Lok-Ta's not doing that badly. He's still behind, of course.
And once he hits level 6, though, these flying machines are going to be his worst enemy, because he needs tanks, not 1 food units.
Yeah.
Ooh, DeadDontBite going to go ahead and feed everything right now.
Oh, no. See, this is what actually Lok-Ta should have done. Because he had all the flying machines, he should have killed these griffins. He needed the hero levels.
Yeah, he really does.
Like, what is DeadDontBite gonna do for you, you know?
Yeah. Well, he's gonna use mass invisibility on his griffins and then fuck it up.
Exactly. He's gonna tank,
to be fair,
mass towers.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he fucked up because I'm not sure how that was gonna be a viable option to begin with in any scenario, so...
I guess he thought he could snipe a hero. I don't know.
Maybe. Alright, so let's move on to Night Elf, because I do think that the Demon Hunter and Panda together are a viable option on a small map where you think the game is only going to last 35-40 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm going to disagree, but I will say not Panda, but if you go Demon Hunter Naga, like solo style, that could be viable.
I don't think so. I disagree on that.
I'm just thinking to that crazy Night Elf player that was playing on the bot for a little bit, who I thought was Moon or Remind. I don't know why I called him. I don't know why. Anyways, because his micro was so good, he just went lore and rushed and killed everyone. I can't do that, but the Naga gives you what you're losing with the Keeper of the Grove, and then kind of gives you a little bit of what you're losing with the Panda. Both are like not anywhere near, you know, like Fork Lightning, decent AoE. It's not anything like Breath of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cold Arrow, sort of like Entangle. Not really, but you know what I mean, like.
So what about Warden Panda?
Yeah, you know, that could be. I guess if it's a very small map.
I mean, Warden is one of the strongest heroes in terms of DPS in the game. It's obviously very fragile as well. But the AoE between Panda and Warden is pretty damn good. You can slow people down with Shadow Strike on the Warden, or using the Haze combo on Panda, although obviously that's not ideal. Blink later on is a bitch to deal with. I mean, this is complete theorycraft. I've never tried it, but I do wonder if maybe on a small map like Fountain of Manip or FML Emerald Shores, you could pull something off with Warden Panda. I know that I Never Smile has been going Warden first a lot, and I'm not sure what hero he's been using second, but it may be Panda.
It's gotta be Panda. I don't know. I still don't. I even take my voice about the Naga. Like, I just don't think it's good to not have your third hero. Like, with Night Elf, because you're losing so many things that are so important late game. So, okay, you might win the game fast, but what if they hold and then you get teamed or something? Or what if you hold and the game somehow goes long, and now you're stuck in a position where maybe you have 2 level 5 heroes, and you're like, shit, do I get that third hero now and have it be level 1 and get nuked to death? Or do I keep going down this route and then you don't have any disable ability, you don't have Tangle, you can't stop channeling spells, you can't, I mean, that's really all the Keeper of the Grove is for, but but that's a big deal if the game's going late, because every race just about has something that you need that. You know, you can't stop, maybe it's Night Elf Me, or you can't stop either Starfall or Serenity, or you're against Human, you can't stop Mass DP, or you're against undead, you can't stop them from hit and run, or you're against Orc, you can't stop Big Bad Voodoo. You know, some people might say, well, your Panda can use his ultimate and do it, but okay, what if it's on cooldown? Or do you really want to lose Haze and Breath of Fire just so you can disable one spell?
Well, what about using Druids of the Talon? Cyclone.
Okay, that takes too much micro.
Well, what about for somebody that's good, unlike us? I mean, that was Maga's point, was including Druids of the Talon as well.
In theory, yes, but in actuality, against human and undead, it doesn't really work because, one, they die very easy, they're very fragile, so undead nuke will kill them very fast. And then you don't really want Druid of the Talon against human because of breakers. I mean, I don't know, I guess maybe if you're super good, but I don't know, maybe if someone who's really good at micro can show me a game against good opponents where it works. There was that like 200 post long thread on Play Free for All about Night Elf theory crafting with Dovecki and Nublex, and Sexy and I sort of threw in stuff every now and then, but that was something that got brought up a lot. And in theory it sounds great, but I just have never really seen it work. I don't know. It takes a lot of micro, for one, and even if you have that micro, you're losing valuable anti-air supply because you have to have your talons on the ground. So I don't know. To me, it just seems like, why would you try to do all these things if you could just get a third hero and have it accomplish what you're trying to accomplish this way? Like, is the gain really, does it really outweigh what you're sacrificing? I don't know. If I could get a 5 supply unit that can carry inventory items, that has a decent aura in air battles, and that can disable, do I really want to sacrifice that to get maybe 10 supply worth of Druid of the Talon that are fragile, can't use scrolls, can't use a staff? You know what I mean? Like, is it really better? I don't know.
No, I agree with you. And I'm somebody who probably is never going to go for 2 heroes only, mostly because I don't have the micro for that. I do need my Keep of the Grove. It's kind of a crutch for me.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. I mean, I like when people try to change things up and try to deviate from the standard. So this is getting a little bit slow. Let's go ahead and kick it up to 2 times speed on 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, go. And then let's go ahead and get to our final thing here. Human. They have an incredibly strong 3-hero combo in the Archmage, Mountain King, Paladin, and they can also use Alchemist incredibly effective as well. So do you think there's ever a good reason for them to go 2 heroes, or is this along the same thinking of Night Elves, that really you're just sacrificing wasted potential, basically?
I think with Human, first off, I have to say, I think Human has the most viable hero options. Even more so than Night Elf. I think Night Elf, you know, you have to have your Panda, and, well, you have to have your Panda. But with Human, you can really use almost any hero combo. Like, the Archmage is incredible. I think you always want to have the Archmage. I know we're watching Target kind of dominate this game with Mountain King first and with just 2 heroes, but everything the Archmage brings to the human army, I think, is incredibly important. It's like, look at it. If you get it first, it's great at creeping because of water elementals. It's great at pushing early if you want to tower rush someone because of water elementals. It's great at surviving because of water elementals. I mean, like, it's so good. And then late game, obviously, Mass CP is arguably the best free-for-all spell in the game. And then Brilliance Aura is arguably the best free-for-all aura because you just have unlimited mana. And Human has good casters, too. So I would argue for always having an Archmage. The only time I wouldn't is if you go Mountain King first and you use Paladin second and then Blood Mage. And the Blood Mage, you know, like if I were target in this game, I would say it would have been better to get a Blood Mage third rather than stick with your 2 heroes. I know this probably isn't the best game to use in this example just because of how old it is, the talent level is kind of low, but you know, look at this map, for example, and think about what target did. You know, you could argue, well, he got 2 heroes and he wanted to creep him to level 5 really fast, but he didn't really creep him to level 5 really fast. He got his Mountain King level 5 really fast, and then, you know, if he had a Blood Mage, he could have pretty much still had the Paladin around the same level, and then also had a Blood Mage. So, the Blood Mage is a great utility hero third if you're going Mountain King first, because Banish is incredibly useful along with Stormbolt, and Siphon Mana is incredibly useful late game. Not only for giving mana to your Mountain King, which target didn't need in this game because of his incredible items. Obviously, he has a Pendant of Energy and a Crown of Kings. But, you know, say you don't get those items. Your Mountain King's going to run out of mana really fast. But it also can steal mana from opposing heroes that you don't want to have. You know, like, you can use it. You can use Banish and Siphon Mana against a Panda. Say you're fighting against Night Elf. That's really annoying. And, you know, same thing applies for Undead. Even Orc against a Shadowhunter. It just has so much utility if you're able to use it effectively. So I would say you want a third hero in this case. And really every other viable option, you know, if standard Archmage, Mountain King, Paladin, one of the best combos in the game. Archmage, Panda, Paladin, also very strong. We have an invisible critter, I just want to point out. Okay, and then even the Alchemist, like you said, second with a Paladin is just so good. So I can't really say. Maybe the only time that I would say it could work is on death rows where you're fast teching Griffins and you want to fast creep the middle and then rush someone and then rush the other 2 players. Like, you know, like you get all the great items in the middle, you kind of skimp on expansions, you skimp on towers, you just go straight high tech really fast to kill someone, and then because of your hero advantage there, you might have like, say you might have like level 7 or level 6 Mountain King by that point, and maybe like a 4 or 5 Paladin. You know, you could immediately go and push the next player with your hero advantage. But other than that, and that's even stretching it.
So, really, you think it would work better on Death Rows over something like Emerald Shores? Because I actually think Death Rows would be one of the last maps where you do that. Despite being a 4-player map with what seems like a smallish terrain, it's actually very large.
It is a large map.
And that's one of the ones where actually your Archmage comes into the most effect. But I think something on Death Rows where you can creep up to 4-2 max pretty much. It would serve better on that. I mean, you don't need the Archmage to get around, and having an Alchemist as your first of 3 heroes might actually work better. So I think that, or I'm trying to think about some Twisted Meadows. If you ever have a free-for-all in Knollwood, maybe something like that would be where it works better for only having 2 heroes. Incoming Mass TP, by the way. Let's see if they can take down the castle again. No tanks this time for Lok-Ta-Ogar. And Lok-Ta-Ogar has a... Nope, gonna TP out there. They do kill off the critter, so... Not a good job of target keeping track of those critters coming around.
Well, it was invisible, but it did walk by sensor towers.
I was gonna say, you realize that an invisible creep is even more suspicious than a normal one, right?
Yeah, but I mean, are you really just gonna be sitting your screen on your main, like... I don't know. Anyways, back to what you were saying. I would disagree. I think Emerald Shores is a map that you want Archmage first, always. So I wouldn't ever want to go Mountain King, Paladin on it. And at Twisted Meadows, maybe I'm actually of the opinion. On those kind of maps where you're not going to creep, like maybe Deadlock, where you're only going to creep like 4-2-1 or something, unless you have a Dark Ranger. I think on those maps you it's better to get 3 heroes, because even if maybe your creeping was bad and you only are like 3, 2, 1, that's a map where, especially with human, you can build up a strong 80, 100 food army quickly and get levels by killing someone. So, and on those kind of maps where you can't creep really high, everyone else's heroes are going to be low level also. So, I don't know. I guess for me, I just can't really think of any situation for any race where it's better to have just 2 heroes. And I know people are going to disagree with me.
Yeah, and I mean, disagreement is fine, and if you think something else, leave a comment on the video. I mean, we're happy to respond to those, and we'd like to encourage this type of discussion. It's what's healthy for free-for-all, and it's what really makes the community great is we have very differing opinions on pretty much everything in every situation.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know how I didn't think about this earlier, but I just thought about this. I guess there would be a situation where you would only want 2 heroes, or even one is if you have a Tinker strategy where you go solo Tinker and get to level 10 or something.
You Tinker lover, you.
Well, and that's why I'm amazed I hadn't thought of that yet. Because I just thought of that right now, and I'm like, how have I not thought about the Tinker? But Tinker and Panda, or Tinker and Alchemist, complement each other pretty well, and you can do that with just 2 heroes. With actually, pretty much, I wouldn't want to do it with Orc, but it could be viable with Night Elf or Human. Probably not Undead.
Alright,
yeah,
so
those are 2 heroes that you could maybe do that with.
I don't want to say this game is over, but
Yes,
it looks like Target's in pretty good shape. So let's go ahead and do a wind down of each of our players, what they thought they did right, what we thought they did wrong, and then what's kind of changed the metagame since this, because this was actually patched 1.20e, which is quite a while from what we're at now. So let's start with Target, who I don't want to declare the winner, but he's looking in mighty fine shape right now.
He's the winner. Spoiler alert, Target wins.
Well,
I can't see any way he would lose.
Yeah, I was going to say, neither of us has actually watched this game. We don't really know, but it looks like that case. Also, I would like to remind Target that the Hawk's Cloud ability does not work on tanks. I'm not sure if he was trying that or if that was left over from towers.
He can't hear you right now, Mage. She's not watching.
Yes, he can. He can hear me 7 years in the past.
Well, do you want to talk about Target, or do you want me to go?
Why don't you kick it off with Target, and I'll reply with any rebuttal I have.
Okay. Target played the best out of all 4 players, I think. That maybe isn't saying a whole lot.
Low standards?
Low standard. The bar wasn't set very high. But the things I liked about him, he did use his position advantage the best. He didn't creep super quickly. He didn't get his expansions up super quickly, but he expanded their correct direction. He took the expansions that were basically given to him because of his spawn. He didn't needlessly attack anyone to make them angry at him. He hoarded for, like, I don't think he broke 50 food for the first 30, maybe 40 minutes of the game. I mean, he got up to 20,000, I think, before he broke 50. So he definitely did that better than everyone else, and it was appropriate in this game, in this position, because he had no reason to break, and he built enough towers to where he wasn't going to die before he could build units. So that was a plus, I would have to say. The negative sides I could think of would be his lumber management was very poor. Granted, he didn't want to go over 50 supply, so I can see why maybe he didn't want to build more lumber peasants, but if you're going to build this many towers, you're going to need to take into account that you're going to need a little more lumber. And also, it worked for him, and it is his style to just the 2 heroes. And maybe it worked because he didn't want to break 50 also, but I would have maybe liked to see a 3rd hero, especially with the way he was creeping with his level 5 Mountain King so much. Would have been nice to see him utilize that to level up a 3rd hero better. That's what I have to say about Target.
Okay. And I'll throw this question. How do you think you would fare in free-for-all today?
Well, I'm pretty sure he played in a relatively recent season, and he did okay. He wasn't great. He did. It was the first season that we did where we had all the players, and it was the elimination style. And I believe he made it past the first cut and then got eliminated in the second cut.
Okay, that's fair enough.
He's okay. I would say he's average.
Okay. The things I thought that he did well were, I thought he hoarded gold well. He realized his position on the map with a strength, took advantage of that, and he actually upgraded his unit because the rest of the players have not seemed to be on top of that. So I think that's an important thing today and then. And especially then, I suspect it gave him a major leg up. As you mentioned, his macro with wood was subpar, to say the least. And I don't mind the 2-hero combo nearly as much as you do, I think. But on this map, I think it's really inexcusable. I get that maybe that's his style of play, but I don't think that that's a good reason to do it on a map like this, especially where he had access to so many creeps. If he was in the middle of a sandwich, then I think that's one thing, but he wasn't. He was in the best position at spawn, and there's really no excuse for not having 3 heroes. As for how I think he'd fare today, I think it would be very poorly. Maybe better than the other players in this game.
Definitely better than the other players in this game.
But I think going 2 heroes would hurt him a lot more today than it did then. So our next player is LEL, and I'll kick things off with him. I think he did an absolutely terrible job of expanding, but at the same time, I felt like he had a better sense of micro than most of the players did.
Yeah.
I think he would be more on par with the players today in terms of micro, though that's not saying much, and I think he'd still lose to them. However, he might make the transition the best because I feel like he has more to be taught about the macro game, which is more learn free-for-all, and less to be taught about the natural intuitiveness of free-for-all. So I think he'd be okay, and I like the way that he actually got his base set up early on to be tough to take out, not overly aggressive on the towers, but he actually managed his wood fairly well, even if he didn't manage gold well.
Yeah, I agree with those points, and I thought LEL actually played, I don't want to say the best, but maybe second best, and I agree, I think he would do okay nowadays. What the thing I liked about LEL was he seemed to know what was going on in the game the best. Even though he didn't really scout, he had the unfortunate position in this game of being suicided for who knows what reason. And maybe if he hadn't been suicided, this game would have looked different. I don't know for sure, but even though he didn't get a Blade Master on an incredibly good Blade Master map, his hero combo was okay, and he crept pretty well considering his early game was so poor. And he recovered pretty well from not having the fast expansions. And then late game, he knew who was strongest. He was trying to team properly. He was still getting suicided. And Lok-Ta wasn't really doing enough to take the attention off of LEL from target. So maybe had Lok-Ta done more, maybe had DeadDontBite not suicided so much, it might have been better. But yeah, I think he fared okay. And like you said, his micro wasn't that bad. It was okay. We never got to see him use this Inferno Stone, but that's okay. I think he did all right. I don't have too much negative to say, really. His circumstances in the game were so poor. I feel like it was kind of unfair to. It would be unfair to judge him very negatively.
So let's move on to DeadDontBite, which I expect this is not going to take very long. I thought he was the worst of our players. He clearly had either some type of grudge or was just a very short-sighted free-for-all player. Expended way too many resources on trying to take LEL out. And while he did have the worst position, they were generous enough to give him 2 expansions if he had taken them. And he could have put himself into the game, or he could have pulled off an early rush. I mean, he is human. That's a very viable strategy for them. And especially on a map like Market, he could have pulled off a tower rush if he really wanted to. So I don't think he would fare well today. I don't have a whole lot of complimentary things to say about his game here. And I do have a lot of negatives, but I think most of them were explained within the shoutcast.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on him. I don't think he'd even qualify or even come close to qualifying for FML if you were to play nowadays. And I'm still curious to see who he is,
Yeah.
but maybe he's just no one. I don't know. Um, like you said, he sort of tried to rush, but it was more like just a suicide with the tanks and the Griffin rush, where he didn't upgrade his units at all. He didn't use staffs. I mean, he played poorly.
Yeah, so let's move on to Lok-Ta-Ogar. Why don't you give your first thoughts on him, and then I'll wrap this up after that.
All right. I wasn't very impressed with Lok-Ta either. I wasn't impressed with him in his season 1 finals either. His micro was not very good, and overall his play isn't that great. In this game, I would say he had the most opportunistic moments. Like he was put in a position where he had the best luck, because of Blue suiciding LEL, because of Target just massing Griffins against mass gyrocopters. I mean, there was a lot going for him, and he still couldn't really turn it into his advantage. I think if he had been better, he could have taken advantage of those opportunities better. He built a ton of towers. He didn't manage his lumber at all. He didn't even really upgrade his units, even though he wasn't touched for how long, He did finally get a third hero, but it was after he crept 5/5. So, it's just, again, another player. He wouldn't fare well today. He wouldn't even, I don't know, he wouldn't even be 50% if he were to play on the Play Free For All bot. So, I don't have a lot of good things to say about him either.
Yep. I mostly agree with that. I mean, the one thing I will give him is he was in okay position in the Season 1 finals. I mean, he tried to pull off that Necromancer rush there. He was in okay position in this game. So I think that, sometimes we attribute a lot of stuff to luck, but sometimes you manufacture your own luck, and maybe we are being short-sighted on Lok-Ta-Ogar. Maybe there's some background we don't know, and he did manufacture some of his own luck that we don't know about. But that being said, I think you're correct that he underperformed in this game. I mean, he did have LEL being suicided by DeadDontBite for most of the game, and he could have used that opportunity to take out DeadDontBite, gain hero levels, and then team Target down, because LEL was clearly willing to negotiate, knew how to play free-for-all, and all that type of stuff. Or he could have tried to take down Target. I mean, he and Target were left in the best positions, but he was the one that broke to 60 food early on. And that's the sign of bad macro, is you just kind of let your food and gold go to waste. As we can see on the resources screen, Target was the one to lose the most gold to upkeep, but that was because he mined the most by far. Lok-Ta-Ogar lost quite a bit of gold to upkeep early on in the game. So I think that he probably would not fare great today either, mostly because it's the fundamental stuff like that, where he didn't seem to have either the micro or the macro shown that a lot of the players from early on did, and they just refined it. He just kind of feels like he would be an average Battle.net player.
Yeah. I mean, he made 2 straight finals, so
there's something to be said for that, for sure.
Good for him, yeah. There's something to be said for that, at least. Yeah, all right. Any closing thoughts for you?
Nope. Congratulations to Target. This is 8 years too late, but well done on winning the final. And Mog and I will be back before too long. Mog is taking a cruise. I suppose he deserves some time off from shoutcasting. But, you can feel free to go ahead and send him some messages on the FML forums letting him know that he should really have invited me on the cruise, not his husband. I'm clearly much more important in his life, and his dog likes me better. So, with all that being said, thank you guys for listening. Make sure to subscribe by clicking the button that'll show up here. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/FFAmasters. And as always, check out our current season, Season 20, at ffamasters.net. Thanks for shoutcasting, Malg.
All right, thanks for having me. It's fun.
We'll catch you all later.
All right, see ya.